Hi everyone, it's Dawn. Welcome back to my channel. So I have a favorite eyeshadow palette from Charlotte Tilbury. I really liked the Pillow Talk palette, and I really still do love that palette, but I recently purchased at the end of the summer when she had her summer sale another palette called Copper Charge, and it's a 4-pan palette, and it was created for blue eyes when Charlotte Tilbury released her eyeshadow palettes for the color of eyes that you have. There's a magenta one, there's a green one, there's a blue one, and then there's the copper one. And some of them were limited edition, and I think they were all intended to be, but you can still find several of them in her 4-pan palettes on her website and on Sephora and various other places. And they're no longer marketed for a particular eye color. And I think that's great because the one that I have is for blue eyes and it's Copper Charge. And I think the colors are beautiful on any eye color. And it looks like this. Isn't that beautiful? All coppery shades, coppery kind of terracotta shades. So perfect in the fall time. And I really like to use this when I wear a top this color or any shade of kind of blue or even green. It seems to really just make a great combination. But I love to find dupes for high-end products. In fact, anytime I purchase a high-end product, I usually get started on trying to find a dupe for it. It's just fun for me to do that. And ever since I had this the past couple of months, I purchased it at the end of summer sale. I wanted to find a dupe for it. And I kept looking at different palettes I already had in my collection thinking, well, this has a lot of good colors that would match one of the 4 colors in this 4-pan palette. But I wanted to find another palette that is affordable, that has all of the shades in one place. So that way, if you're trying to dupe the Copper Charge palette, you don't have to pull out 4 different other palettes to do that and remember what shades. So I found the perfect palette, and it's so perfect that I'm gonna do a get ready with me using this palette on one eye and the Copper Charge palette on the other eye. And this is what this palette looks like. And I think this was about $20. It's a Morphe palette. It's the Gilded Desert palette, and I purchased this when it first came out last spring, and it looks like this, and I absolutely love it. Now, when I purchased the Copper Charge palette from Charlotte Tilbury, I had been watching YouTube videos about it, and I really wanted it, and I didn't think that I might have already had these colors in my collection. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have purchased it, but I did, so I was able to make use of my spending a bit too much to help you guys. And this is what the palette looks like. And there are some identical dupes to the shades in the Copper Charge palette. And I'll show you which ones I selected as I go along. But as you can see, it's the same kind of tones. These are 3 shimmers or kind of shade shifter shades and 1 matte. And this palette is an array of satins, mattes, and shimmers. And the consistency of the colors and the way they wear, very little kick up, long wearing, kind of creamy as you blend them out, even though they're not creams, is exactly like the Charlotte Tilbury. I mean, it's not even different. If I were to take 4 of these pans and put them in one palette, I could make a Copper Charge palette. And so that's what I want to show you today. Now, the colors that I chose were what I thought were the closest, but there's some other shades that are very, very close as well. And if you have this palette, you could toy around with other color. I'm going to do one eye using the Gilded Desert palette and one eye using the Charlotte Tilbury Copper Charge palette. And then I'm also going to share some other dupes with you. So one side of my face has high-end, and the other side of my face is essentially all dupes and drugstore products. And I'm just going to bring you in close to start to see if you can tell which side is Charlotte Tilbury and which side is Morphe or drugstore. My cheeks also have a high-end blush on one side, and a drugstore on the other, and my mascara is one is high-end and the other is drugstore. The high-end is all on one side. So go ahead and leave me a comment right now telling me which side of my face you think has the high-end products on it. And you're looking at me as if I'm looking in a mirror. So this is my right and this is my left, and I think it's the opposite for you. So just say on your end which side of my face you think has the high end. And I'm gonna go ahead and demonstrate this makeup for you and show you just how close these dupes are and how great they all are. And then I'll say goodbye. So let's get started. The first shade I'm going to share with you is the Prime shade in the Charlotte Tilbury Copper Charge palette. Whenever Charlotte Tilbury does a tutorial with one of these palettes, she always says Prime, Define, Smoke, and Pop. So this is the Prime color, and this is that Charlotte Tilbury shade. And the shade right beside it is from the Morphe Gilded Desert palette, and it's called Gold Spark, and this is it right here. The next shade I'm swatching is the Define shade right here, and this is what that looks like. Just a really rusty orange. And the dupe shade is this one right here in my Gilded Desert palette, and this is called Terra Firma. Oh look, you can see side by side right on my fingers. But I'm gonna go ahead and swatch it. And it's just as creamy. These are both just like one swipe like that. So you've got the Define shade from Charlotte Tilbury, and you have Terra Firma from Morphe. And now this shade in the Charlotte Tilbury palette, this is your Smoke shade, and it's a matte. And the dupe is Molten right here in the Morphe Gilded Desert palette. And this one's Charlotte Tilbury, and this one is Morphe. Next up is the Pop shade right here in your Charlotte Tilbury Copper Charge palette. And I'll swatch that. And this is the dupe in the Morphe Gilded Desert palette, and it's called Full of Flash. These are the two colors side by side. This one is Charlotte Tilbury, and this one is Morphe. And these are very shiny colors, a little bit iridescent, and they have that shade shifter quality about them, but they shift the same colors, so they're nearly identical dupes. I do have my Urban Decay Primer Potion on as my eyelid primer on both eyes, and I'm going to use the same brushes. I went ahead and pulled out duplicate brushes so that way the colors will translate the same. A lot of times the density of your color and pigmentation can change based on the type of brush you're using. So I wanted to use identical brushes and not cross-contaminate them by dipping one brush into both colors, if that makes sense. So I have a medium-sized shader brush, and I dipped it into the Gold Spark from Morphe, and I'm gonna go ahead and apply that to this eye. It's such a pretty shade. I really love this palette. The quality is amazing. I really love all the Morphe palettes that I've tried. I haven't tried too many. I think I've only tried like 3 of them, but I've really enjoyed the ones that I have purchased. And you get so many colors for not a lot of money, so you get a lot of bang for your buck. Okay, now I dipped this brush, the same size brush, into the Charlotte Tilbury Prime shade, and it should look exactly like the Morphe. Even the consistency is exactly the same. I'm going to use smudger brushes with these really short, dense bristles for the Define shade. And on the Morphe side, I'm going to go in with Terra Firma. And I'm just going to hug my lash line with this and just kind of define my eyelid a little bit. Makes a really pretty contrast next to the light copper. I'm gonna run a little bit of this beneath my lower lash line as well. Now I'm picking up the Copper Charge Define shade. This palette is such a pretty fall palette. I love all the tones in it. They're just so perfect for fall. And in the Morphe palette, you get so many more shades, and they're all just like really pretty fall shades in my opinion. It's called Gilded Desert. I guess they are kind of desert shades too. A lot of bronzy browns and golden sunny shade. Now I have two identical brushes from e.l.f. and I'm going to use these for the smoke shade. These are crease brushes. And I'm gonna go in with Molten first on the Morphe side, right here. And I'm just placing this in the outer quarter of my eye and really kind of blending it and smoking out the outer corner. And now I have another brush, Clean from e.l.f. and I'm going in with the Charlotte Tilbury smoke shade. I'm not even really noticing a difference in the way that these shades are blending. And they have the same amount of kick up, which is very, very little. And all the colors I've used so far, none of them are dusty. And now I'm gonna use the pop shade, which is right here, and it's called Full of Flash. And I'm gonna use my finger for that. And just pop it right in the center of my lid. I cleaned my finger off with my makeup eraser rag that I have on my lap, and I'm going in with the Charlotte Tilbury pop shade. And if you get these shades wet, they're even more vibrant and sort of metallic or foiled, really pretty. You can use both of these palettes, either dry or wet your brush, and you can create some really beautiful and intense colors. I mean, I go with a light hand more so than probably most people, and you can see how pigmented they are. I just added some eyeliner using this little Maybelline Lasting Drama eyeliner. I found this at Ulta in the shade brown. I usually use black, but I find that brown is a lot softer. And when I was looking for brown in the drugstore section at Ulta, the only brand that carried it in brown in store was Maybelline. So I just picked this one up and I really like it. I've been using it all week and it's long lasting, and I can do exactly what I like to do with this, where I just take a tiny little brush like this. It does come with a brush that's really good, but I just really prefer this little BK Beauty brush, this teeny tiny detail brush. And I do the reverse cat eye, and then I go above my lash line and just kind of stamp some there to make my lashes look thicker. And then I kind of do the same thing underneath. So I go a little bit light with it, but it lasts all day and I'm really happy with the way it looks. So yeah, I would recommend this. I'm going to use a dupe mascara too. I'm going to be duping the Idol mascara from Lancome, which I absolutely love. Monsieur Big is my favorite Lancome mascara, but this is a very close runner-up. And you have all heard me talk about the Maybelline Sky High on my channel before. This is my favorite run into the drugstore and pick up mascara. And it's usually in a pink tube. Mine is black because this is like a really dark black. I think it's called Black Noir. And everything else is basically exactly the same. I don't know why they made the tube black, maybe just to make us purchase it because we think we don't have it already. But I wanted to show you that even the applicators are the same. The curved one is the Lancome. This one's straight, but this is a very firm brush. It doesn't have any real flexibility to it. And this one is very flexible. So I feel like that kind of compensates for it not being curved. It's really easy to maneuver and get where you need it. Whereas the Lancome is firmer, so it stays exactly the same, if you understand what I'm saying. So this one kind of acts like a curved brush, even though it's not. And they wear off the same way, meaning that they don't until you wash them off with soap and water at the end of the day. I have oily eyelids and beneath my eyes, and that usually removes some of my makeup and smudges it, and these do not smudge. So that's why I like them so much. They don't flake or do anything that I don't like. Two of the same blush brushes, and on this cheek where I used the Charlotte Tilbury and the Lancome mascara, I'm gonna use Benefit Rockateur blush, and I'm about to hit pan. You can see the grid in there. I'm so excited. I usually don't like hitting pan. I like my makeup to stay nice, but I've had this a really long time. And I really like this shade because it's got like a brownie mauve. It's sort of brownie and pinky at the same time, and I can use it on my skin tone to also kind of bronze a little bit. Okay, so this is the brush I used for that, and now I'm going in with a clean brush, and I'm using Blossom Time Rose from Milani. And I have shared this on my channel before as a dupe for Rockateur, but this one is even more pigmented, so you have to go with a lighter touch. And I'm going to use that on my Drugstore side. Rockateur from Benefit and Blossom Time Rose from Milani. While I do love Rockateur, I will always just purchase the Milani from now on because it is an exact dupe, and I feel that this one is even a little bit better. It wears just as long as the Rockateur, and it's a fraction of the cost, and the color is more pigmented. So I do feel that in this case, this is a better product. I lined my lips with this little Pillow Talk lip liner from Charlotte Tilbury. I love this. It goes with just about every lipstick that I wear. It's like a pinky nude, and it's just a great all-purpose product. I keep one on my vanity, and I keep one in my purse. And I'm gonna wear a Maybelline lipstick for my lipstick shade today, and you're not gonna believe what the color is called. It's from Maybelline, and the shade is Copper Charge. And it's just perfect. And it's so weird that the palette I used is Copper Charge and the lipstick from Maybelline is called Copper Charge. So let's just go ahead and put this on so you can see how pretty it is. I think it's just perfect with the Copper Charge eyeshadow from Charlotte Tilbury or the Gilded Desert palette from Morphe. I'm gonna bring you in close so you can take a really close look at the dupes. And as you know, Charlotte Tilbury, Lancome, and Benefit, high-end on this side, and Morphe, Maybelline, and Milani on this side. And then my lips are a combination of Charlotte Tilbury lip liner and Maybelline lipstick. So it's a mix of affordable and high-end, but you definitely could go with all the affordable because it looks exactly the same in my opinion. I'm gonna bring you in close. Thank you so much for spending some time with me. Let me know if you like this kind of video. If you do, don't forget to hit the thumbs up, leave me a comment or any questions below. I love interacting with you, and I hope you have a blessed and beautiful day. I'll see you next time.